Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to a mass podcast. Yes, I know I'm already starting to laugh. I was watching something that on TikTok that's about Wade Wilson, and his father just noticed that everybody that gave him donations are female. So, and one of the person who interviewed him mentioned, well, if he was ugly, nobody would do it. Well, it is what it is, guys. Um, just very interesting. So it just, and it was described. Not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the fact that they were asking the question, where did he get the blue suits? Because he was wearing a very nice blue suits, and he knew somebody that went to Goodwill actually and got him that blue suit. And the guy that was interviewing was surprised. And I'm like, well, yeah, there is some good treasure if you go to Goodwills or the Salvation Army or any non-profit organization that have their thrill shop. You can find some gems. I remember that's a few decades ago when I started it, and I was going to corporate. That was my first job in corporate, actually. At that time, oh yes, Gen X here, people. We were not allowed to wear jeans. You had to wear basically your suits. That's what the deal was. And then, so that tells you the year where they started finally a year later. 2 years later, they started in corporate to have a casual Friday, which I have to tell a story because I think that's funny, the evolution of everything. So I was volunteering. We had one of the world's biggest garage sales here for the American Cancer Society. So this garage sale, by the way, was controlled by volunteers, and the money wasn't going to go pay somebody's salary. Actually, it was going directly to research, and they made sure, because they were auditing the funds, that all of the funds, everything, it was very well run. It's still run, I believe so. I think Kay is still doing it, I think. But I got actually invited to basically be part of the volunteers, which I did the first year. I'm telling you, it was like words on TV when you're not used to people, when you open the doors and they run, literally run. They will even run over you. It was amazing. So I was able the first year because I was working and I needed suits. Then I found very nice suits, and the price tags were still on there in the suit. So you had opportunities to, after several hours, maybe you work 20, 40 hours, whatever the number of hours you did to set up the garage sales, you were allowed to shop, which was nice actually. But even the day of the sale, I got a lot of clothes that I would save for $100. I got several suits that I needed because we're still in casual. It wasn't casual jeans, it was suits, sorry, for the week. So that was very helpful. So I understand you can find treasures everywhere. Throughout the years, what will happen as well is you can find people who have estate and who will give the goods. And we had people, I'm telling you, I've seen some very expensive shoes, suits, things that, were way marked down, like 10, 15, $20 instead than $3, $4, $500, which was great and helped a lot of people. And you do have those like we have one IOC, which is Interface Outreach, does the same thing. And I think I'm very grateful for IOC actually, because when my condo burned down, I had no clothes. It was just unbelievable. Um, I When I left, I just put my pants on, clothes on, and that's it. I left with what I've got on my back, and that was it. And I just made sure that my dogs, my car, my wallet, that was the only thing I had, because I didn't know the extent. When I saw the fire, first of all, I heard the fire, the crackle, and everything else. It was like, holy crap. But when I went the second time and looked on the deck and I saw the roof on fire, I didn't know how long I had actually before the roof collapsed, because the fire was outside, it wasn't inside, and it was already um, what do you say, burning, but without the flame eating the insulation and everything else. So I had no idea what was the time, because I would have had more time. I would have tried to dig through some stuff, but I did not. So the first thing I did, and I always said, my dogs go first, I go next. And I will always be surprised actually about how my dogs were calm, and I was just, okay, we need to go this, we need to do that. I'm like trying to talk to the cops. I think this is the worst thing I ever done, because I'm somebody who's pretty calm, but I was out of breath trying to explain to the lady, my roof is on fire, what is your address? I'm like, lady, it's on fire at this address, blah blah. And she was snotty at the end too, and I was like, what the heck? I hang up in her face. I said, I don't give a freaking A. Well, but we are close to the police station, so at that time it was very easy for them to drive 5 minutes and found the first officer, blah blah blah. But it was interesting that when I left, I just had my clothes on and I got my shoes. Now, while they were using the water to try to control that fire, I did staped, and I was like, I ruined my shoes, I ruined my socks, and I'm like, well, I don't have any more shoes. I have nothing left because everything is basically being drenched and in that fire. So forget it. Nothing left. And luckily, Jerry, who I met, God bless her heart, she's my angel, had a size up. It was size 9. I'm a size 8.5, but I wear 9. No, I'm a 7.5. 7.5, and I wear normally 8. It depends on what it is. Generally, I do 8 for the shoes. And her partner actually wears size 9. So I'm like, I don't give a crap. Size 9 works. I got a pair of socks. I was barefoot and now a pair of socks. I don't remember. But she was so sweet and so nice. So that was good. The only thing I had to do after that was to get some food for my dogs, because basically everything was wrecked. So, but when you think about getting stuff, it helps, like IOC, which I will always be grateful, were allowed to give. I was able to go there, and I was allowed to pick a couple of things for me because I had no clothes. So I remember that was 30 years ago, about when I started it here. It was, yes, I know, a long time ago. Yay! Uh, it was very interesting for me, because the opportunity to buy those clothes were essentials to go to work, because I did not had any suits, no suits with me. So when you got those beautiful companies like IOC, again, Salvation Armies, you got others who, the churches, you can check with your church, and they're able to provide you what you need. That to me is a godsend. And I would say, even today, I'm wearing one of the pants, the sweatpants. I'm wearing it today. Actually, I'm still wearing some of the clothes as well, because this is what it is. But it was very helpful to have a leg up this way. So I was listening to that story, but when, it related to that blue suit, and I'm like, well, yeah, you can find treasure if you go hunting like that. And that's what was nice. again, the story for the Cancer Society for me was great because I worked there as a volunteer. I become the head of the cashier department as well. A couple of years later, so that's what I did, and I partner with another person. I absolutely love her. So I was doing most of the job, and she was just showing up. She had her own business, and she still has it, I believe. But it was such a good combo between the two of us because I was doing all of the mailing, all of contacting everybody, doing the schedule, and she would show up and be there for those days because we made, I think, within 5 days about $500,000. So that was huge. So imagine for a moment they used to go and scout empty warehouses or even some store that will close and to some of the malls so they were not rented or leased, and they will loan them for about a month and a half, and they were trailers after trailers after trailers of clothes, furnitures, everything you could ever think of, sporting goods. So it really helped the community, but it also was for a good cause, and I really loved those guys. This is why I did it for a few years, because I knew the money was not going to pay somebody else's bills or salary or being like some organization. I'm not even going to go there because that's one of them that I got extremely disappointed by. When every time they do an audit, there is millions and millions and millions of dollars that are being basically, what do you call it? Taking away. So people will scam the company, that charity, but they were really focused on where. And I assisted because prior to the garage sales, we had meeting for all of the head of departments, and everybody was looking at what we should do, how we're doing this, but we had a report of where the funds were going. And to me, I was extremely proud to see that the $500,000 wasn't spent in general funds. It was really going where it was supposed to go. And those ladies did such a good job, and they did it since 1969. So that's telling you how long it's been, 50 plus years, that this garage sales is running. And I think it's absolutely fantastic to see that. But throughout the years, they will be contacted, and there will be a truck coming and load up stuff, because I did it the same thing. I had staff loading it up, and afterwards then I gave back to those guys to resell, actually. So they would come and put them up and store them into trailers, and we had trailers after trailers because I did the distribution, I did the sorting, I did everything there as well as a volunteer. But it was great to be able to see that and really work with great organizations. So I'm really proud of those guys for everything they have done, and knowing that you can sleep good at night, that you go and buy stuff that really makes a difference into the research. So I don't know why we deviated this way, but I just wanted to talk. I just started with a laugh this morning, and this is what happened. So I think it's great to know that there is organization out there that do good things for good causes, and there is a lot even for animals, because the Legend of the Paws is my favorite, because of my dogs, actually, charity that really do animal rescue and really help animals. All of the money for the Legends of the Paws goes to pay bills for the dogs, for the rescue, for everything that when a dog is being rescued, in most of the time. And even for Mac and Dottie, Lulu was a different story, but for Mac and Dottie, their rescue was something different because they were sick. Like Mac had scab on him, he had no hair, he was dying, literally dying after being abused for 7 months, because they dumped him after 7 months, something like that. Am I correct? It was February, so March, April, May, June, July. 5 months. It was actually 5 months because he was 7 months when he came to me. 5 months of torture. I don't know. They tried to drown him. He was such in a bad shape. It did not look like what he looked like. But when they pulled him out of the kill shelter in Texas, he went and was in intensive care for 2 freaking weeks, and he was dying. He gave up. And the foster mom came over there every day to see him, to talk to him, and he turned himself around while he was recovering and he was at the vet. So those are expensive bills. Imagine 2 weeks in intensive care. Yeah. And daddy had, she was in a bad shape, a little less than he was. But imagine when, you're born and 2 months after you dump in a high kill shelter. That is something that she carrying with her. And again, it takes a lot of money for the rescue group to care for the dogs before they're being adopted. So for me, when you're looking at this kind of organization, then I have no issue to give money to, because they are doing it for a cause and they're delivering it. In some other cases, I'm going to talk about the 9/11 actually, that I got really, really got mad at this one. I was not happy. And that was for the Red Cross. And I got trained by the Red Cross over Europe. We had a lot of respect for the Red Cross in Europe, because a lot of those guys and I still respect them, actually. I still think they're doing a fabulous job. I got trained by twins, brothers, and those guys are going to all of the disasters, basically, around the world. And I have a big respect for those guys searching in rubbles and do this. However, I got 2 stories. One was for the 9/11 that the fund, and I gave money because the first instinct I had was, there is so many scammers out there that don't care about the people, but will set up fake charities that, give the fund, we'll give it to the people, blah, 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 and it never happens. So that was one thing. So I went with what I knew best at that time, which was giving to those guys. Well, the scandal went afterwards that all of the money that was given never reached the people in New York and the people the firefighters, because it was for the firefighters, it was for the first rescuer, the EMT, and everybody else's, never went to those guys. Never went anywhere except the general fund. They replenished themselves with the freaking general funds. And that was upsetting to me, because I wanted to give it to those guys, to the rescue, to this. I did buy actually later on a cab that was going actually directly to those guys, which, but still, it was upsetting because it's millions of dollars. So you imagine a charity said, well, we're going to do this, and everybody give. And then at the end of the day, that was to replenish the general fund. No. We don't do this. You should not be doing this. The other things that I did not appreciate it is for the lies. For, again, the Red Cross, for the fire last year. First of all, the guys showed up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and the fire was raging 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. The fire was already raging at past midnight when I called. We were sitting, they just took the names, that's all, and gave us a credit card. I had $300, something like that, for a hotel. They were supposed to help to find a hotel, they never did. Lovely. They were supposed to call within 12 hours, so the next day I should have had somebody reaching out to me, they never did. And because I'm single, well, you get $100 more. The worst part was what they said on TV. They're all taken care of, we're taking care of, they're all safe. No, you're not. Jerry, who was my angel, actually, is the one who had her mother-in-law working at a hotel who got me in. She figured it out. I said, I have 3 dogs, they are ESA, blah, blah, blah. They got me in. because of her. I had a roof over my head because of her. I was working with that's a person from the police, Plymouth Police, and she is a PR. She's somebody who's helping the community actually. I got hooked up with her, and she raised hell and mountains just to try. And she did the same thing, and I did leave voicemails, messages to those guys. It took them 2 more days to get back to me. I'm sorry, did we had any other fire going on in the city? Maybe not. And I remember I was walking my dogs because I was still going back over there, trying to figure it out what was going on and trying to see what I could do. So my dogs will stay in the car. I was going inside after several days, and I wasn't allowed to do in there. Well, it's another story for another day on this one, but that's fine. Things always work out the way it's supposed to. But I had my 3 dogs because I was trying to, on the top of losing everything, don't know what's going to be happening, becoming the observer because I saw the miracles happening. I saw what the universe was putting in place to help me. I want to keep a sense of normalcy for my dogs, meaning let's go walk and do a regular walk, because those dogs needed to keep on their routine. I needed to continue to move forward. I could not have a meltdown and let go of everything because of those guys. Those guys were depending on me. It's like you having your kids depending on you, and their eyes are on you. So we cap the walk, and I'm walking. I'm receiving a call telling me that's the Red Cross. Other guy did not care. He gave me a list of what I should do, and I'm like, well, I don't have a pen and pencil. I'm walking with my dog. Would you mind to send me? And he sent me a text, actually, message, and it was a list of what you should do. And I'm like, well, that's your help. Well, great, fantastic. But there were no help. Oh, we're gonna give you $100 more, and after that, you're on your own. Okay. And you're telling at the news we're taken care of, we're all safe. No, we're not, because you failed to do this. And that to me was another blow from the Red Cross. I grew up with the Red Cross in Europe, and maybe it's here in the US, but in Europe they do a better job, or they used to. And I trust them very much in Europe, and I don't trust them here. It was very disappointing. I am glad that I had Jerry, but they never reached out back. They never did what they were supposed to do. And I'm like, you know what? You can say whatever you want in the news and lie to the news because you got our name on paper. Oh yeah, we take care of it. No, you did not. There were no follow-up. And I felt when I was talking to that person, they did not give a crap. They wasn't gonna do an extra step for you. You're pretty much on your own. That was another way. And I'm like, well, used to do that, so let's figure it out something else. And I had other people who step in, and as I said, if the police department, the firefighters, the chief firefighters, who was absolutely awesome, God bless his heart, he's the one who, when he said, well, did you have from help from the Red Cross? I said, absolutely not. I have not heard. I have called, and I was meeting him for something to get access to the condo actually. And he, as I said, within a minute. So you see who really care. Even stranger cared more than the people that knew me, which was very interesting. And as I said, people that I had no idea who they were showed up in your life and changed your life for the better. So it's not, it's not a rant, because I don't have any grudges against anyone. But it's when you have an institution like the Red Cross, where they were solid at some level. They are very good for the rescue, because, as I said, those people that I knew in Europe were really dedicated, and those guys went to every earthquake, war zone, and everything else they could do to help people. So those are the boots on the ground that I bow to. What I do not trust is the people who are sitting behind their desk. They don't care. They may be not inspired. Maybe they don't like their job. And the people who sit in the corporate over there in a big headquarters and they're siphing money out. They don't even get arrested. There was one, I was laughing so hard. That was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. They did an audit. $10 million was missing from they had sent money to Africa, and 10 millions was missing. Somebody built their house, they did whatever they want to do. That was it. It's an ongoing situation. So for me, giving money to a charity is something that I'm looking very closely, because being ripped off or money going somewhere else really upset me. And for me, the 9/11 was really, I was not happy, because the money we give should have gone to the firefighters, to the police department, to the EMTs, to everybody that were over there working their butt off to try to go through the rubble, to try to help, to do what they could at that time. And that money never reached them. Well, it's a sense of fairness. Well, karma will deal with it. But it's just to highlight things that you see that can be an outrage. And for me, the second nail, the last nail in the coffin was the Red Cross. I was expecting the Red Cross to do a little bit better than that, but no, obviously you don't want to bother them. And they don't answer the phone, and there's 12 hours. They will, I'm like, okay, by Tuesday, we're Monday. Okay, no problem. Yeah. It took them 2 to 3 days to answer back and did not care. And they gave you a list of what you should do and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. But you do understand the person you're talking to is under shock right now. So we're not going to be able to compute everything in our head. Send us the list. Okay? If this is this, then why don't you print a list for those first responder, whatever, for the Red Cross who gives $300, whatever the deal is, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you give them the list so we have it and we don't have to bother you? That's for me, it's like something needs to change. The process needs to change. Something needs to really, really change. So again, this is not a rant about what they have done, but it's just to highlight the inconsistency. And you have to be careful when we're talking about charities where the money goes. And those like the Red Cross has been there for ages. The Red Cross is one of the oldest organizations. So you ask yourself, okay, but if those people are doing this, what am I doing with the rest of my stuff? Because I don't want to give to charity anymore. Well, I'm glad and I'm blessed that I met the Legend of the Paz, which I'm very, very happy because I love those guys and I know what they're doing. The same with IOC, because Interfaith Outreach does a great job and they're helping the communities. So maybe instead of giving to those big ones that go around the world, maybe, and that's my personal thoughts, give it to your local one that you know the money goes somewhere and it really help the community. Because when you discover like the one in Africa, $10 million, and you're like, and nobody gets arrested, okay, well, I'm going to go work for them and I'm going to move to Africa and I'm going to go do the same thing. At this point, I will make a $10 million disappear. Oh, but that's okay. They were supposed to buy medication for people. That's okay. Went in somebody's pocket. Okay, but I want to do that too. Why not? It's just, so yeah. If you have a charity, do it locally and verify where the funds are going. Verify that everything is done like they say it's supposed to be done. Sorry, but I'm not. I'm laughing because out of all of this, and this is what I do under stress, actually, I always laugh. So I warn people, I'm going to be laughing. And it's like, you have to have sarcasm because you start to cry. And in the case and what I've been through, I can guarantee you need one. You need a cup. You need a cocktail on hand. Right now I have, and I normally don't drink coffee. I have decaf coffee right now in my hands. Yes, because I don't drink real coffee with caffeine. I don't need it. I'm already caffeinated enough. But think about it. You need a freaking cocktail because you don't know where the money goes. And I don't care whose charity is, or who is the face of the charity, because you know what, a lot of those actors and actresses have put their names next to those, and the scandals still splatter their face. So even though you maybe have somebody, an actor and actresses or whomever they are, they have charity, I will verify that too. Because I don't want them to put somebody's salary on that top of it. If it has to go for a cause, it has to go for a cause. So imagine the people who needed the vaccination and the medication, they never got it in Africa. Is that okay? Not really. It's not. Why would it be okay? So again, check it out. But as I said, if you go for your local, and I went for the local, and I experienced this firsthand when I needed help. IOC was there for me, and I'm very blessed they were. It's like, again, it's a non-profit organization, and they've been fantastic. Legend of the past. Look at what you got. Your shelters are on the road. Not the killing one, people. I'm talking shelters that do not kill, or even shelters for humans. Because at the end of the day, they were talking. This is why I did the move, what I had to do, which was moving up 50 miles where I was living, where I used to live. I was talking to some of the guys for to help me, and they were saying, well, you have shelters in Minneapolis, because I depended on Minneapolis, and I'm like, okay, but the shelters, you have to go the day before. No, the night. You have to call them at lunchtime, whatever, at noon, in order to go in at night. And it was only for one night, so you had to do that every day. Now I was talking with them, and I'm like, I'm not liking it. I have 3 of my dogs. I am not gonna go to a freaking shelters where I'm gonna be dealing in downtown with crackhead and anything that goes wrong, because those shelters are overbooked. And when I talked to the people, it was like, well, we end up with a lot of families who are going to those shelters, and we got people with mental what do you call it, mental issues, quote unquote. And I'm like, yeah, Mike will be fine with that, Lulu will be kind of okay, Daddy, not happening. Because if she feels somebody is not quite right, who has issues, she can sense it, and she know. I'm like, I cannot deal with this going in downtown. And I said, no, I'd rather be on the street with my dogs than having to deal with that. So the decision for me was made after the week in hotel. Then we were able to do hands meeting. It was just a freaking miracle. Then at the last minute, I got somebody stepping in that Sunday, and that Monday I moved in. I was already gone from over there, and I had enough to pay for, I think, to stay over there for one more night, and I did not. I took everything I've got, which wasn't much, load up the car, load up the kids, and then went into that place. Then I stayed for a month, and I escaped over there, because this was another monkey and circus. I will explain later on what it was, but this wasn't even good either, because that person pretended to be an old homeless shelter, which she wasn't, and she wanted money. And it was a rundown house where people were high on meth, and it was like, holy crap, and I had to deal with that. But that's, again, a different story. It was just insane at that time, and I am not, and I never did drugs, but I had to deal with it wasn't good, let's put it this way. So it was 1 month with, it was good in one way because it was away from the city, but in the other way it wasn't good because the individual running that household lied. Because I tried to get the what do you call it, I wanted to see the paperwork, because when you say you're a non-profit organization, I want to see her paperwork, and she had no paperwork actually. But she used to scam people who were in dire need, and she preyed on people who had mental disability and elderly people, or people on meth and on drugs, because that's easier to get their money out. So using and abusing, but that's a different story for another day. But this is the kind of things that when you go through life, one thing that I've learned, and I have no issue with that, is I'm done with holding and the ranting. I'm sharing stories. So I know somebody in the past said to me, well, you talk too much about your stuff and nothing new. And I'm like, if I'm talking about what I'm talking about, like what happened to me and the process and going through it and what happened, it's for sharing a story because somebody listening to it's gonna understand, and it may be a different situation, different people, similar journey. So it's not ranting to be pissed off because, like I said, and I always said it, and I'm like 34 minutes in that podcast. I'm like, holy moly. I always said it. I don't take the microphone. Excuse me. I don't take the microphone in recording or even go live if I'm mad. I'm here to share a story because that story will help somebody. And what I've learned at the time of the fire, and that's why I'm so humbled about it, is that the universe was working on my behalf, was working for me to get me out of that crap. And I saw it. I saw the miracles. I saw Jerry coming, and I didn't know Jerry from A to Z. Jerry provided me clothes. She provided me she's like the big sister to me to kick my butt, which was awesome. Seriously. I have seen people stepping up, and I'm talking strangers. I'm not talking people who you know. I'm talking strangers. And being able to, from not having a home to have a roof, and let things rolling, and ask the universe supports, listening to it, and let the miracles happen. So when I'm talking about, and I'm very passionate about the legends of the past, it's watch out for your money where it's going and verify it's going to the right cause, because a lot of time it doesn't. And as I said, what appalls me the most is general funds and paying somebody else's salary instead than helping somebody else's. My story is a story that millions of people are going through, and I'm sharing it as an empowering message because you can hear it in my voice. There is no anger. Whatever people have done to me, karma, deal with it. I don't give a crap. I don't care who you are, whatever is your problem. If you do harms, karma will always be there to make you pay. La cuenta, you always pay. Always. So for me, through all out of this, I should be angry at the Red Cross. I should be angry that they never supported me properly. Yeah, they give me $300 to pay for the hotel. Okay, nice. But what else? That is the deal. Is they were supposed to help to find a shelter. They never did. They fell short, and the people don't care, and that's their prerogative. This is not mine. Now what I'm looking at right now is how far I've gone, what happened, and be humble for everything. The rest, that's their problem, not mine. I don't have time to keep any grudges against anyone. I don't, because it's a waste of energy, and I am not giving my power to anyone. My power is mine, and it stays with me. So, all my love, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast. Podcast.